Welcome, Brendan Connor.
Hello.
One of the people who, as I remember, used their real name on forums back in the day.
Yeah, it was risky business. And still, people spelt it wrong on the forums immediately.
Connor.
Yes.
Yeah. I was looking at like a video archive that my friend sent me of like a bunch of videos that he'd saved, and he has several videos by you by your actual name, how it's supposed to be spelt, and then below that they're like Brendan Connor but spelled wrongly underneath it.
It was brutal. I think I leaned into it after a while. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, let's. I am Brendan Connor, OR. But what was so frustrating for me I was probably like 14 or 15. Someone else created an account and started posting really great videos on Technique, and their name was Connor, spelled Conner, like my last name. And I
Oh.
was like, oh my god! I was like, this is the branding is a nightmare right now.
I know. I felt kind of jealous for a period because Kevin Malone was getting some traction when I was away. And so I came back and I was like, I'm not the default Kevin anymore. There's another Kevin that's taken over. So,
Shouts out Kevin Malone.
yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of bridging the like my era, your era, kind of the new one card flippy weird discovery era
Yeah.
and the Danish era. He was kind of like the little middle ground between that when some mechanics hadn't fully been explored, but we were still dabbling. So things were kind of weird,
Yeah.
original move wise back then.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about this recently, and you mentioned that one of the inspirations that you had coming into it was Bobby Hasbun, who
Yeah.
goes by Ed Marlowe nowadays.
Is that on
Yeah,
Instagram?
on
Is
Instagram,
he
that's him.
is that him?
That's him.
The one with like the picture of Ed Marlowe like ripping
Yeah.
a cigar.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Did
Yeah,
did
no,
you get to
Bobby.
did you get to meet him at the con in San Diego?
I might, I might have, but I don't think he. I don't think I like was introduced to him or anyone. I might
Yeah,
have come across him. He was there.
he was there. He came up and introduced himself to me, and he was very nice.
Amazing. Yeah, he's a deep OG from the forum
Yeah.
days.
He's running that new account now, World of Winds. Maybe you've seen it.
I have. Yeah, I was actually. Yeah, it was good to. That was a very old school style of content right there.
Yeah.
Flexing your deck collection on camera.
But it was like all of the same deck. Like
Yeah, that's changed a little
grosses,
bit.
grosses and grosses. Now there's a little bit more variety. I mean, now it's like you have a line of cards from maybe like a few brands, maybe a whole Orbit collection, a whole Anyone collection, a whole Fontaine Reverse collection. But back
Yeah,
then it was like I have 200 decks of Jerry's Nuggets or like Wins or Absolute Vodkas or
yeah,
Arcos. You
yeah,
remember?
yeah. It's a lot more aesthetically pleasing to see the collections these days. But do you remember? I think this is on Technique. There was this one guy or gal. Um, I think their name was like Pimp Deck Collector or something, and they would exclusively just post flex videos of their huge ass collections.
I don't remember this.
Um,
No.
It was great. It was he did zero cardistry. I don't think he did any magic. Don't think he even opened a deck of cards, but he would just on like his bed. He would start. It was quite cinematic too, because like he would have all the decks lined on like flat,
Uh-huh.
and you kind of like slow pan across all of them, and be like Jerry's, like wins or golden nuggets
Golden
or all that,
Nuggets.
like, and he'd go, and then you think he'd be done, but then he'd like rotate a little bit off his bed, and then there'd be like another like it's basically like the equivalent of doing like a money spread on your arm, but with decks of
Yeah.
cards.
The blue face.
And he would, yeah, I think he posted like 3 or 4 videos, and that's
Oh my god.
and like actual videos to Technique's like media section. And that was it.
Wow.
He's just like, that's me. Like, fuck y'all.
So, so I have to say that there's probably some of our viewers who don't know what Technique is. So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I guess before this predates any type of real social media.
Yeah, it's pre-YouTube.
Yeah, pre-YouTube, which is crazy to think about. So I think the origins of a lot of the cardistry, I don't know, legend, or just like cardistry as a community in general, has grassroots in online chat rooms and forums. So some of the notable ones are Cheaters Cheaters, which was before my time. And yeah, I missed the golden days. And then another notable one was actually the Dan and Dave forum. So this was a forum on their website that was quite active. It was primarily just for people with questions about how to do moves from the system, which is was their DVD tutorials at the time.
Yep.
And then the hot new kid on the block at the time was this forum called Technique, started by this legend called Richard Z.
Richard Z.
I don't know what the Z stands for.
I think it's Zadarozny.
Richard Zadarozny. So he was a artist. Also, I believe he was like a software engineer or like web developer or something.
He works for Meta now.
Big dog.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So he built this website, and it was kind of an integration of a really robust forum section as well as a media hosting platform. So kind of imagine like old school YouTube or something. There was a landing page that would highlight like a video of the week, kind of hot new content, kind of new postings, top postings. So I guess there was some type of ranking algorithm as well. I think it must have just been views based. But as a young artist, like having this hub of community where everything was just like insulated within. So you could post videos and then there would be direct conversation about those videos in the forums that were also on the website. It was so seamless. It was amazing. It was like having this actual like community hub. And the best part about it, to flex on people, the active members of this forum back in the day were like the gods of cardistry, like Darren, Jonas, Kevin, like Chris Hessness, Alan Hagen, Trashman,
Trashman F.
Trashman F. Who else? Yeah, like the Verts, like Huron was kind of on there, but the Verts would post content as well. But just like being able to interact on a forum with like, for me personally, like Darren and Jonas, and like just seeing their opinions and then seeing them actively post content. Sometimes it was honestly like a religious experience when they'd post content or something for me. I was still I might have been finishing elementary school or early high school, but sometimes they'd post videos in the morning and I would just watch them. I'd watch them before school over and over and over again. Come home, watch them all night, just watch it over and over and over and over again. I was just lurking at this point. I didn't even have an account. So yeah, that's Technique. It was basically like a forum / media hosting website that, yeah, like holds a very special place in a lot of OG cardists' hearts. If you ask them, I think a lot of memories are made there. It was an amazing time.
I remember Spencer showing up to the Brooklyn Con with like a Technique T-shirt.
Yeah, it looks like the Pornhub logo. Technique did it first.
Technique did it first.
Oh, so, man. Do you remember because you were very active, or not very active, but you were active on Technique from back in the day, right?
A little bit, yeah. I started with a troll account on there called Stick, and I would just post like all my posts in haiku form, and people hated it. They got very angry with me. So eventually, I came out and exposed myself as being me, and contributed as per normal. But yeah, that was a good time.
It was a good time because also there wasn't really any, how would I say it? There was like competition, or there was factions of forums, you could say. So when Technique came around, there was still the Dan and Dave forums, which I kind of consider kind of like the aesthetically pleasing artsy fartsy kids. And then Technique was for everyone. And then there was Handlords / Super Hands.
Yes.
Forums, which was like a very dark-sided place.
Yeah, I might have
Energy
to.
there was crazy,
Yes,
crazy
I
energy
might have to
there.
talk more to Andrew about that. But yes, I did dabble a bit in the Handlords forums back when, and that was when Andre was still like very much into it. He was
Yep,
still like under the name Monies Are Us back then. I don't.
legendary name.
Yeah, came true. And then I actually participated in one of the battles on Handlords against Elijah, who was in the Verts.
Oh snap! Did you have to show an item?
No, I don't think I had to show an item, or maybe I did. I don't remember. I think that was like one of the things they did back then, right?
I always thought it was so dumb. Because like, sorry to jump in, but like DeVo, I don't know if it was DeVo's rules, but he wanted to make sure that no one had like pre-recorded a
Hmm.
video from like 5 years ago, because
Yeah.
obviously that was possible. So he would lay down ground rules for each round. It'd be like, okay, film your video, but at the end of the video, you have to like show a bottle of mayonnaise, like, or something, or like a ceramic like dog statue or something. Like it's really random shit.
Very specific too.
It was always very specific as well. So like and handler style videos too were so intense. It was always backdrops. So someone would just finish like this crazy uncut routine, nail every move, like thumping trance music in the background, and then they'd finish the routine, and then you'd see them reach off screen and then pull out like this fucking bottle of like mustard or some shit, just like completely,
Ruin the vibe.
just completely ruin the vibe. So when I was watching those videos, I was like, oh, like respect, but it's not for me. I'm gonna stick with like the two hand cut people over at Technique and Tactic forums.
But you did support like some of the Handlers products, right? Like I remember you had
Yeah.
like Extreme Beginners at the very least, and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
did you have World XCM one or two?
No. So I started. So yeah, the physical media that I had the system,
Hmm.
which I
Classic.
bought from my local magic store, and then I had Extreme Beginners Volume One,
Is the local
and
magic store the one that we went to when I was filming Portable Playground 2 up in
yes,
Vancouver?
yeah,
Yeah.
clowning around magic, an
Legendary.
institution. Legend. Yeah, so
Yeah.
when you came, the store is being run by this magician called Joe, who is apparently like a legend in the scene. He was in like Paul Harris's True Astonishment series and all that stuff.
Oh shit. Did he
So
do
that the bouncy card move,
yeah, the McBride's like Jeff's jump. Yeah, Jeff's
Jeff's
jump.
jump, yeah. So that Noel does in Ace. So
Yep.
Noel learned that from True Astonishment,
Hmm.
and that's taught by Joe. So a fun little
Yep.
Vancouver, BC moment there.
It's interesting how these moves travel around and like get found and discovered, by different people in like little niche areas. It's always very fascinating. Because
Totally.
like the curly Q move is from Art of Astonishment,
Yeah.
and that eventually blew up when people like Zach started popularizing it, and now you have like Alejandro's Cuckoo as well. So
Yep. Yep.
lots of gems in magic books.
There really is, honestly. Um, but yeah, sorry, to get back to your question. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I had Handler or Extreme Beginners system. So yeah, I didn't choose sides really. Like again, I also didn't have an account. I was just lurking at this point on all the forums. So I was just a bystander or an observer to
So
the absolute lunacy.
what made you take the plunge and like make an account on Technique out of all the places?
I wanted to, I hit that point where I was like, I can almost do Five Faces of Sybil. And that was like the standard back then. I was like, I'm ready to film a solo video. It's like, I can almost do the worm. Like it's time for like people to know about me.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Yeah. I had like a couple original creations.
Hmm.
One was just like the worm, but like instead of like doing the worm, I like throw the card up and
Oh
like
yeah.
catch it. So yeah, I filmed that, and then I just need somewhere to post it. I was terrified. So that was my first video, which did terribly and was absolutely destroyed.
It was just
Um,
that one move, the worm variation.
no, I had a couple moves in there. I think I did like a or a S spread, lapel spread,
Uh-huh.
which was a hot commodity move back then.
Yeah.
Some other moves. I was really bad, and I had some like really like kind of cringy indie band in the background called the Claxons.
Oh, I know the
Um,
Claxons.
yeah, Golden
Golden
Scans.
scans.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
use Golden Scans,
Uh-huh.
which is an interesting energy to have in a card video. And then, yeah, then I posted that, and then I think, yeah, people like Trashman and Darian.
Was Darian on Technique? I thought it was more Theory 11 and
I need to confirm with Andrew,
Atlas.
um, but yeah, I got absolutely like eviscerated. In the comments were like, "Yo, like never post again. Like delete your shit like immediately."
Do you remember?
Um,
Do you ever hear about cheaters like ranking system, like for their 1 to 5 star like system on Cheaters
n-
Cheater?
no,
So on Cheaters you'd have like on one side you have Inhuman, and on the other side with the 1 star you'd have like Delete Now, and the videos that got low enough rankings would actually get removed from the website. So they were high
no
stakes.
way,
They were high stakes
no
back
way.
then.
I've been talking to some old school cardists and some new school cardists too about there's not enough tough love in the community anymore. People are very it's a very nice, inclusive, supportive community,
Too
but
nice.
too nice. They don't know like the sometimes when I'm talking to a new cardist and I'm just like, you don't know the ridicule and the critique that we had to go through, not only from our own peers in the forums, but like kind of in life at school. Like if you're shuffling cards, people were like,
Oh yeah.
you're a loser, man."
Wait, so you left for a while. Was that
I
because of
did.
this?
It was yeah, it was kind of because of that. I was very self conscious about my cardistry back in the day. Didn't tell really anyone in my day to day life, like my friends or anyone, didn't know that I did it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just I don't know. I was just very like self conscious teenager trying to put on a mask of becoming like a cool person that I definitely wasn't. I'm kind of like running away from your passions and all that because you carry whatever type of shame. It was bad, but that was just kind of like the reality of high school back then. I think individualism, being kind of weird or quirky or having unique hobbies, which is really celebrated these days in the era of TikTok and social media, was just not as, I don't know, accepted across the board. And I'm also looking probably back with some bias now too. Like I think a lot of that was probably in my own head,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's just kind of how I left. I was like, I'm gonna go learn how to like produce like hardcore hip hop beats for 5 years
Yeah.
because that's way cooler.
God's Chinese son. Everyone
Oh
check out
man.
God's Chinese son on SoundCloud.
Oh god. No, please don't.
I used one
But
of your beats on a Momentum video not too
you
long
did.
ago.
You did. Thank you for doing that. I was very,
Yeah.
very honored.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that 1 star delete, that 1 star auto delete is actually an amazing system. Back in the day too, people would review videos move by move.
Oh
So
yes.
so Trashman, I don't know if he was one of the leaders of this like critical style of reviewing videos, but say someone like Scott from Scott and Sean, who is
The brothers.
arguably one of the greatest cardists of all time, skill wise, just like technically, like his technical skills back then were insane. And he would do a video, he'd post a video, and he'd be doing like L cuts, warp speed L cuts in this.
Philip Macaulay
Um,
L cuts.
Philip Macaulay level L cuts. And Trashman, this guy, would be like, okay, so you'd be like, oh, so yeah, Cobra Cut, like slight delay on the catch, like 6.5 out of 10. L cuts like very fast, but like one visible card was unsquare from like the third L cut packet. It's going to be a 4 out of 10. For every single move in the video. So that was the level of critique that we were getting. So you
Wow.
post something and you will get literally piece by piece, like director's like commentary level, like just like destroyed.
Yeah, I wonder if it's that people are just too nice these days, so that if there's something critical they have to say, they just don't feel inclined to comment because they're afraid of the stigma that comes with it. Because now everyone's going by their real names, and
Definitely.
it'll backfire on you if you say something like not flattering. So
Definitely. I
it's
think it's for the better, 100%.
because
The community.
I don't think Trashman would have maybe said stuff to that degree if he was going by his real name and like had his face and
Mm,
stuff attached to his profile. So having
yeah,
like anonymity and like a username probably lended to more honesty back then.
definitely. And it was also just it was just part of the culture back then too, that was kind of heralded by people like DeVo and a lot of the handlers people just were like inherent. It was just inherently a very critical community that had really
Mhm.
high expectations, and like most of the critique, like it wasn't actually personal. Like it was just like a technical basis.
Yeah, there wasn't so much ad hominem. There was more so just like your moves suck. You don't suck. Your moves suck.
Exactly.
Yeah, get good.
And that, but I remember I posted a video once on Technique, and I used this was me using branding before I
Brandon Connor.
branding Connor. I was doing a little social media hacking, so I knew Richard Z loved RJD2.
Oh yeah. Wait, is this NAF style?
It wasn't Nap style. It was one of my other. Oh, it was. I had really dumb names for my videos. It was like one of my first webcam videos. That did okay, and I used an RJD2 song, knowing that Richard, who does
Is it the
picks some.
HWDRNBL? Is that it?
I can't even remember, man. I can't remember what I called any of these things. You probably have these. I probably haven't seen the videos that you have of me in like 12 years.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, I used a RJD2 song knowing that he liked it, and then he picked it to be on the front page. And the comments, I remember the comments were like, "This guy only made it on the front page because Richard likes RJD2." And I was like, "Yes," and it worked. So, but that's how, yeah, that's how you got to get your name out there. You got to be
Yeah.
crafty with it.
No, I mean, this is exactly what it's the way to go, because I don't know if you ever saw Patrick's interview with Matthew Baudouin for Matthew's streaming series, but he talked about how when he came up with his move Dropbox, it was specifically so he could get into the Fontaine ranks, because they were doing like all the isolations and stuff
Mm.
at the time. So he came up with an isolation style two-handed cut display thing for that reason.
Oh,
So you got to have like your target set and
interesting.
innovate towards that. And it works.
Interesting.
It
It does
works.
work. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Guess he didn't make it into the group though.
No, but he ended up making it into piggyback down the line.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, Patrick's definitely he's like he's a bit of a mastermind of that type of thing.
Oh
About
yeah. I first time I ever saw him, he was like doing a theory video on aesthetics and like how to make good card flourishes.
definitely. Yeah. The way he sees trends and style, like his perception or like his take on cardistry genres is I don't think anybody does it like him. It's so
Yeah. No.
eclectic.
Yeah.
So
Like one of my friends described him as like a cardistry philosopher, and I think that totally
mm,
falls in line. But he's from like more of I don't know, like how many phases are there in cardistry at this point? Like if we say like Jerry Siskowski and like Fred Capps and Houdini or like Phase One.
That's like,
Uh,
yeah, that's like Genesis. That's like pre modern cardistry. Yeah, the
pre DVD.
phases. Um, I think, yeah. So is Five Faces a Sybil? Would that really be like the kickoff?
Um, I think that's when I don't know
Because
because
you've seen the Brian Tudor rant, right?
yeah,
About
the genealogy of Sybil.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like that ain't. He's like he's like sorry, like Bill or whoever. He's like that shit ain't like that's not a fucking Sybil, bro. And I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
For me, at least,
Yeah.
it's like the way I see it is so everything started for me with Dan and Dave. Um, and Dan and Dave and like the verts and like the style videos you were doing, and then DeVo. Like that was just what existed. If you were new to cardistry and you discovered it somehow, um, and you like searched card flourishes, what you would get would be yeah, Dan and Dave, DeVo, Gary, maybe some Jonas videos, and then
Cap
like
Casino. Cap
Past
Casino.
Casino with his crazy ass eyes.
That is a genre that went away. The massive displays. I see it occasionally now and then, and like people will still do the Leno cut, but the big Jason Soul, Cap Casino, like
Yeah. Oh, well,
body.
Caps leaned into it though because he would do like he'd be like this and then like
Yeah.
this, but he would be
Do you do the
uh,
wink?
um, uh, he'd be emoting, yeah, hardcore, and like his eyes would keep getting like bigger and bigger, and he'd be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder what happened to him. That's that's a bit of lost cardistry lore.
There was a couple, yeah. There was Keon. I don't know if you remember Keon.
Keone, right?
Keone,
Extreme cuts with Keone. You got
yeah,
big top.
big top, which was just like a complete ripoff of the system
The
style.
yes. The funny thing about videos like that back then was that because the DVDs had to pitch the moves, the blurbs of them like they had like full on descriptions for each move
Yeah,
on the cover of the DVD.
yeah.
And you could tell at some point that the person writing them was like out of ideas, and
Yeah, it's like,
there was no Chat GPT to save them back in the day. Sort of like a whirlwind smorgasbord of flurry of packets darting left and right, somersaulting from hand to
yeah,
hand.
a nebulous burst of like pips and red and black smear, and it's just like the move is like,
Man, no wonder people hated us.
yeah, yeah, like we were like objectively cringe as fuck back then. Like it's in defense, like we were doing it to ourselves for sure.
Well, you came back after leaving due to, I guess, shame.
Shame, self hatred,
Loathing.
self loathing.
Yeah, so what's the story behind that? What brought you back in? Was it the Messiah of Eve? Who,
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, my big dog of Eve.
uh-huh.
So, so this was maybe like 4, 5, 6 years after, well, like 4 or 5 years after I'd like really like been doing cardistry. No one really ever fully stops shuffling cards. Like it's you're gonna do some card flourishes at some point. Like it's just ingrained in your muscle memory.
Yeah.
So I was still like shuffling, doing whatever, but I was not keeping up with the meta. I have no idea like who was influential, what the new hot moves were. But yeah, I had sent Aviv, who I'd been friends with for a very long time before leaving, a friend request on Facebook, like some years ago at this time, and like he never accepted it. And then there was one night I like was kind of drunk, I think, and I followed up on my friend request to him, and I was like, "You little like piece of shit! Like, fuck you with me!" Like, I was like, "Accept my freaking like friend request, you asshole!" And then he got back to me a couple days later. He's like, "Oh, sorry, dude. Like, I was in the army and didn't see your friend request. Like, my bad." I was like, "Oh, damn. Okay. Well, you just humbled me really quick." Then we started talking, and he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, like things are quite exciting in the scene right now. There's actually this convention happening in Brooklyn that is being organized by a lot of the leaders in the community." I was like, "Oh, damn, that's huge." Like my perception of Cardistry when I left versus like that, like never in a million years would I think in my brain that like Cardistry could have gone to that point. So yeah, that kind of just got the gears turning in my head. I was like, okay, well, there's obviously been big movement in the community, so let's check out what's going on. Reconnected with you. Started looking into these Danish boys. I think I bought like Zach and Biz tour
Biz and
videos.
Zach take Europe.
Yeah, I bought that,
Yeah.
which was interesting. Saw Dimitri. Yeah, reconnected with Dimitri, who was an old school bud.
Yep.
And kind of just went from there, yeah. And then started shuffling a little bit more. And then, yeah, when Berlin came around, was very fortunate like to be able to make it out there. Thanks
Yeah.
very much to you. And
And
that was
and oh, slightly before Berlin, I came by to Vancouver with Spencer
yes,
and Andrew.
yeah, yeah. I can't forget that portable playground too. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't say this enough. How my little like teenage cardistry brain, like how special that was to me, because the original portable playground, if people haven't seen it, with is it Dan?
It's Dan and Dave.
Dan and Dave, Dan and Dave and Kevin just chopping it up in beautiful sunny California. It looks like doing some crazy moves. The vibes are insane. It's like one of the most. I think it's one of the, like the first true like modern style cardistry videos. I would say aesthetically, way ahead of its time. So sick. Got Sam Roberts in there cooking it
Yeah.
up.
Sam Roberts.
Yes, I used to watch that daily. Like there are certain videos that I think of. There's some by you, Kev. There's Jonas videos and there's Darren videos that I literally used to watch daily, multiple times a day for like years. It's just crazy when you think about it. So to be in the second portable playground video was just like crazy to me.
What was the first real life jam that you've ever been to?
Yeah, there was some very small ones in Vancouver when I was still active in the scene, very small, with guys like Tash Fick,
Yeah, Tashvik.
who's a legend, still homies with him.
Oh, he puts out little combos and stuff on his stories these days, and they're so good.
He's still, yeah, he's amazing. He's still shuffling. Tash, there was a guy called Anthony, who's also in still Vancouver based, I think. Controversial. I'm pretty sure he invented Lego Love. Sorry, Nick.
Oh, really?
I've told Nick this before, and yeah, but it was just so tiny. There really wasn't that many Vancouver-based artists. There was maybe like 5 or so
Okay.
back then. So my first like truly in-person jam was Portable Playground.
Wow. Yeah, what a fun time.
What a fun time! And then from there, I just got addicted to it. We went down to Portland to like visit Chase.
Oh, yeah.
That was a funny trip. So it's all a bit of a blur, but yeah, we went down to Portland. It was Spencer, Andrew, myself, Frankie, Morales.
Wait, Morales?
Yeah, he was there.
What?
Chase, Patrick pulled up.
Oh.
Carter was there for like a little bit, but he was literally like 12, so his dad had to drop him off.
I remember when Carter visited us on the way to see you, and he was like just a small kid, and his parents brought him in for like 12 seconds, and then he had to go.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that I'm old and I am so crusty. But yeah, we all went down to visit Chase at his like kind of studio where he was making squids, and
Yeah.
we all crashed in his living room. He had one like maybe double sized mattress. He just
Hmm.
put it on the floor, no blankets, and then all of these Cardists, we all just like kind of like like found a place on this like tiny mattress to sleep. And I'll never forget this. Patrick somehow managed to fall asleep, like in like praying position on his knees. So
Hmm.
like he was like this, and then his head was like he was like sitting on the arm, and he like fell asleep like this, and his head was on the mattress. Yeah, so that was my second gem, and then yeah, went all the Cardiff cons, and the rest is history, kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's when we were in Brooklyn for the con, I was like up early in the morning and everyone was still sleeping. And I look over on the couch and Chase is sleeping like this. And I'm like, damn, he even sleeps cool. So sorry, Chase, for creeping on you when you're sleeping. But
Cardistry sleep is yeah, legendary stuff.
let me see. So we talked DVDs. You mentioned the system, Extreme Beginners. I had CapCut. I had the VHS of Show Off, like Brian Tudor's Show Off.
Wild.
Yeah.
I have an
And
illegal download of Show Off, and that those were hard to learn from. Let's just say that.
but I will say, like from the very beginning, he tells you what to do with the one hand revolution. Like, when people do it sometimes, and I used to do this too. Sometimes people will do it, and their ring finger will go around the edge.
Yes,
But he
yes.
says like very clearly in there to like bring it
Tuck it
over
under. Right.
to
Wait,
your
how do
ring
you?
finger.
Am I doing it right?
Can you do it slowly? Yeah, yeah, that's it.
That's the correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
um, if it wasn't for Brian Tudor, I wouldn't be into this because Bone showed me what the hell happened to Sybil when I first met him when I was working at that magic shop in Singapore, and I just went like,
It's kind of crazy to think how timeless. What the hell happened to Sybil and like very bad habit.
yeah,
Like perfect, like very bad habit especially is like a perfect two-hand cut,
hmm,
um, and it's still like it's timeless. It's just crazy. It's
yeah.
on the same level as Pandora in my opinion.
Oh yeah, very very like ahead of its time.
Yeah, and there's not many. I'm trying to think of like other flourishes from that era that have stood the test of time. Um,
Well, I mean, if you're looking at that era, I guess you could count like DeVo and Jerry in it as well.
yeah,
And I remember that the L cuts were taught on one of the Superhand CDs at the time.
yeah.
I think it was like they were paired. It was like a Jerry move and a DeVo move. They're just two moves on each CD. So I think one of them was like fan twirl and Cobra cut, and the other one was like flip back and L cuts, something like that.
That's a great like four move combo to learn
Yeah.
right there.
Hmm.
Yeah, L cuts. Yeah, Cobra needs to make a comeback for sure. It is. Yeah, I can never do Cobra. I have those skinny spider fingers. Can't
Yeah.
balance the packet.
Leon's really good at Cobra cut.
Cobra Cut's
And
so,
Darren
so.
Darren used to bust out King Cobras like it was nothing.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
Guy could do everything.
You know what surprised me the most in recent times is I was playing a cardistry game with Tobias and Nikolai, and at one point Tobias busted out Bones' eye cut. And I was like, how do you know this?
People forget that Tobias also was a cardistry fanatic teenage kid back in the day too.
I have the video proof of that. You know,
We've
it's he's tried to wipe it, but I have it.
no matter how cool, like kind of these new cardistry dudes try to act on the gram, just know that back in the day, they were deep in YouTube, sitting in their board shorts in their bedroom, just watching little video clips over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So we've all been there.
I used to have my laptop on my bed, and I would like slow down and invert video performances, and I'd use my toe to press like the right arrow key
Oh
so I
my
could
god,
go
yeah,
frame by frame. And
that's too
so,
real.
yeah.
That's too real.
Were you ever on like a Tiny Chat or MeBeam or any of those like video like jamming websites, or were you more just like personal Skyping people? Like, what was your
Yeah,
online hangouts
I
space?
was a hardcore. Which one came first? Tiny Chat? People always make fun of me for saying Teeny Chat. Uh,
MeBeam came first.
yeah, so I was like a Me Beam head for sure.
Yeah.
That was a really exciting time in the scene as well. So, so
Any
that's
friends that you met then that you are still like tight with these days?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So that's how I got really close with Spencer
Oh,
and Justin Kelly.
Justin
So
Kelly.
Justin Kelly is another Vancouver, or not Vancouver. He's like up north, but he's in British Columbia.
Hmm.
Legend, legend of the game. So yeah, I met him and Spencer were really close, and then I kind of like came into the mix somehow. We just had similar dumb senses of humor, and
Yeah.
we would jam all night for hours and hours and hours. And yeah, met Luca K.
Yeah.
He's from
Did
Slovenia, I
is
believe.
this what led up to you guys collabing for the CCC?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
original CCC, to be
The
clear.
original CCC, yeah. So the original CCC was meant to be myself, Justin Kelly, and someone else.
Luca?
I can't. It might have been Luca, or it might have been Spencer. It was one of those goobers. And then we missed the timing, and then we did another round, whereas Luca, Spencer, and I, and then we missed the timing again, or missed the deadline again.
But that was a legendary video, the one with the color backgrounds and everything.
Yeah, that was. I was quite proud of that one. I thought those moves were pretty unique for the time.
Hmm.
Some of the
Yeah.
stuff we were doing there. So yeah, so I met those guys on there. I met Dimitri on there, a young, brand new to cardistry Dimitri. Um, he was just like smiley face, didn't know anything, was just happy to be there. But I have never seen someone progress so quickly as a cardist. So
And
I would just come
Dimitri?
up in Dimitri, yeah. He'd be like, hey, like, I'm Dimitri, I've been doing cardistry for like 12 hours. And then like a week later, he'd be like, hey, I just like invented this. And it's like a full like Moulin Rouge. Like, no, like it wasn't Moulin Rouge, but he invented some crazy stuff like so fast. He was like the time I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure like from when he started to when he filmed his, I think it was a Theory 11 competition video, like
Hmm.
F501 or something.
Yeah, 501.
I think that was like less than maybe like a year or so of him doing
All right.
cardistry. Like he was very, very creative very quickly. So I met him on there. Yeah, also like I have some really fun. Like Frank used to be on there all the time. Frank Song.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's how I
Frank
met.
Song.
That's how I met Frank. And yeah, a lot of fond memories too of. So sometimes like Jonas would log on, and
Oh,
Jonas would just be like busting out the craziest shit. And I would get like MSN DMs from people or like whatever the communication line was. It'd be like 2 in the morning.
yeah.
And Justin would be like, yo, like, get on me like right now. Like Jonas is like spinning triangles in his hand somehow. Like you got to come see this shit. And I'd be like, oh. So I like wake up, get out of bed, like run downstairs to my parents' office to like get on meeting to watch Jonas. To watch Jonas doing like he'd just be like this, and, like spinning it around, and I'd be like,
Yeah,
so
those
those
were
are
the
good
days.
times.
Huh? Yeah.
Those are really the days. Yeah,
Yeah, I think maybe our closest modern equivalents are, the period of time where there were Instagram lives and
yeah,
they were more popular and people were watching those. And I guess now we have Discord where people hang out and do jams every now and then. But There was like an innocence to it back then that just
It
made
really
it
was.
so much more like. Was that around the same time that the cuso was first starting to pop off? The
Yeah,
Cuso's
yeah,
magic blog.
definitely. So yeah, the Kuso's magic blog. Shouts out my boy, the Kuso. Um, yeah. When did he start? He must have started around Technique, like maybe like in like the latter half of Technique's lifespan.
Probably, yeah.
Um, and yeah, that was yeah. You're right. It was a very innocent time because there was just no commercialization. Like there was no any means to like make money off this. Like it was purely for the love of shuffling cards back then, for the most
Hmm.
part. So yeah, there was this kind of like this innocence and this purity to everything we did. A lot of labors of love. But yeah, Kuso had a blog where his tagline was, "If you're good,
On the Cuso.
you're on the Kuso." And yeah, and he was a nice kind of aggregate um, board for the various forums, like we mentioned before. So
Yeah.
there was like there'd be sometimes like YouTube exclusive videos. I think that Technique was actually kind of ending around that time. So
Oh.
like there was Theory 11 videos as
Mhm.
well, and but also people had just started posting like exclusively to YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
So it'd be like YouTube videos, Theory 11 videos, Technique videos, 21 Ace forums videos.
Wasn't it when Darren used to go by Ricochet 2000?
Was he? Man, you sneaky guys and your pseudonyms and the sneaky, yeah, probably Ricochet. 21 Aces, 21 Ace forum.
21 Ace, yeah. 21 Ace forums.
That was a funny place too. I don't know why these all existed independently, but yeah, I remember there was a competition. It was called like the 21 Ace card shuffling contest or something. It was just like a video contest,
Yeah.
no rules. And most of the people on the 21 Ace one were just humble, kind of card gambler slash like poker chip trick
Yeah.
enthusiasts.
Hmm.
We weren't hardcore like Technique or Hand Lords, but I remember like Scott from Scott and Sean decided to enter the video for some reason. And again, Scott is like like in my head, he's one of like the greatest of all time. So he joins this very humble 21 Ace card video contest and decides to go nuclear in the video. He's dropping like unreleased Dan and Dave moves. Like it was the first time Carnahan fan had ever been published. He busts out Carnahan fan. He busts out a one hand anaconda before that existed.
Wait, Yo?
So
Or
it's Yo, but different. It's kind of like Yo and like a one hand spring
is it just
combined.
like a dribble from underneath?
Maybe something like that. But he did it slow mo, and it was just like, and we're like, what? And he drops like this, like 720 King Cobra catch. Then he also drops like this. He called it like winged angel cobra cut, which is like a king cobra, but like he attached like 65 other cards on the side of it and did a cobra. The fastest L cuts I've ever seen. He had Jackson 5 in there before it was like allowed to be put in. He had like
Oh
chopped it up
yeah,
and like put
I remember
Jackson 5.
when people like put what would you call it, even like
They put it out of sequence, so you wouldn't know when they like chop it in a way. So they show like the end of the cut at the beginning of the video, and then like in the latter half of the video they show like the opener or something to like throw us off.
yeah.
And yeah, he just like destroyed the competition, and we were like, "What the fuck, dude!" Like, on that note, too, the blurring and secrecy
Yes.
of the old school forums. This is something that the new generation, they don't know how good they have it with how accessible information is these days. But when it comes to cardistry and tutorials and things like that, and just how open to helping others cardists generally are now. It was not like that back then. it was basically like a secret community. You had to be initiated into it, essentially. I feel
Yeah,
like you just had to be good enough to like deserve, or be friends with the people to learn the moves.
on Cheaters, you had like the elite member section where you would get like special tutorials if you were good enough. And it's like that. Well, I think we joked a long time ago about you trading underground videos with other people. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I'll send you
yeah,
this if you send me balls by Darren.
yeah. I used to, yeah, not proud. The bartering market back then was bad. I used to try to trade my own videos. I'd be like, yo, I got this crazy shit from Brendan and Connor. Like, send me like three, like, I want balls, like, I want like the Twitch tutorial by Scott Sean, and like Estigo by Jonas, and I'll send you these like crazy Brendan videos.
Oh, Estigo, that's a good one. Man,
But yeah, back in the day, there was their concept of underground moves was like very real. It was actually quite fun when you like thinking back on it. But people would come up with these moves. So like Jackson 5, Pandora, Tornado Cut for a long time, Skater Cut.
yep.
These were considered like legendary secret moves that
And
only
it wasn't just Skater Cut; it was Skater Cut with kickflip because Joey
Skater
Burton
Cut with
had
the
Skater
kickflip.
Cut, and then Dan added the kickflip.
So no one was allowed to know about these because they weren't like actually like publicly released by the creators, but
Yeah.
there was some level of like sneakiness that people would come up with. Like I can not technically showing the move when I do this, and then when I do the kickflip, I blur the screen. So there's a Darren video. I can't remember which one it is, but like he's doing this, and he's obviously about to do Skater Cut, and then like he does the kick, and then for like 1 second the screen just blurs, and then it comes back, and I was like,
Redacted.
it was redacted for sure.
Do you remember Lunch with Dan? The
Yeah, I didn't get
video?
access to that till many years later.
Yeah,
'Cause I was not.
that was a leaked video. I only meant to send it to like I think a couple people, and then it got out.
And the crazy thing about that video too is that performance of I think that might be one of the first
Yeah, it
recorded
was.
performances of Pandora.
Yep.
And I think that is maybe the best recorded performance of Pandora like ever seen. It's
It's really
done
good.
so smoothly,
And nonchalantly.
nonchalantly with the OG Revolution spin at
Oh,
the beginning.
yep. And also the drag. Like I don't know if people remember this, but there was a part in that Pandora where like a card gets pulled out like this, and put back
Oh
in.
yeah. That was taught in the newer one, I think, or like the trilogy version. I brought this up to. Is it Dan? That's Dan's one, right?
Dan's move, yeah.
Yeah, in London, we're all at a pub. And I was like, "Yo, Dan." It's like 1 a.m. And I was like, "Bro, why'd you take out Revolution from Pandora?"
What do you
And
say?
he's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." So I was like, "You're lying to me." Also, to this day, I was like, "Also, why did you speed up the videos in the system?" He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." To this day, they deny. If you watch the system performance videos, they are so doctored. They are so sped up. But to this day, they both deny that they sped up anything.
I have no comment on that. I'll leave it to the public to decide.
Yeah, but Lunch with Dan was
Maybe
yeah.
it's just a difference between like playing NTSC versus PAL.
I don't know. I remember popping in that DVD and watching this. I was like I couldn't even do like Charlie or Cut at the time, and yeah. So different times for learning, and sharing information. That's kind of the theme right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, Lunch with Dan, I think, was the most high profile underground video, I think, for a very long time.
Shot by my dad.
Hey,
Yeah.
I love that video so much. You look like a baby in that too.
Yeah.
And your moves are like, that's the crazy thing about you and your skills too, is the things you were creating, I think, like were very much on par with like the what was considered like the system classics.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, that was like there was like this level of cardist. So like you, Darren, Jonas, Scott, and Sean, who were creating original moves, but originality in cardistry back then wasn't really. It wasn't like that. Didn't feel like accessible to cardists really. Like it was completely acceptable to just be a cardist back then that exclusively did other people's moves. And you would be like deep into the community, and you would be respected for doing other people's moves well. Like you could be like Jordan Lapping, for example.
Yeah, Jordan Lapping.
He's amazing, and his card handling for doing like Dan Dave moves and stuff was exceptional. But yeah, there wasn't really this pressure to create original moves back then. So people like you and like the others I mentioned, it was always just so. I was like, how do you do that? Like, how do you not only like create, but like get to that level of refinement with the motions and the flow and everything? Like it was just so cool to see back then.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it, and I asked the Bucks this too, and like I don't know if they had like a specific creative process. I think it just came to them.
It's crazy when you think about some of these moves that have no reference point. Like Pandora is crazy, and you like break it down. It's crazy.
Yeah, Pandora comes out of TCTCSA, which a lot of people forget from the system.
I remember. It's
Yeah,
classic.
the cut that Chris sucks at. So
Yeah, and also Pandora was called the cut the cut that everyone else sucks at.
That was me. I named it that.
Okay, lore. There's some lore.
Yeah, TCTESA. But yeah, it started out as a Chris Kenner diss and became one of the greatest combos of all time.
Legendary. Yeah, there was other.
I'm credited for Pandora in the trilogy, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I leaked it.
Yeah, because rat bastard.
I'm looking at my notes here. It says like CardistryCon Loom Spring.
Oh, the loom spring.
The Loom Spring.
The fucking loom spring.
The Loom Spring, like it really should have gone viral. That's some hardcore shit.
Is this the move we came up with?
Yeah, you, Spencer, and Andrew.
Oh, and then the slap?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all Spencer's mind for a unconventional, most likely like impossible and physics defying moves was like truly astounding.
I think we were goofing a while ago and talked about how a lot of Spencer's moves sound like jokes. I think even he had the Pelican spread. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we came up with we conceptualized the Pelican spread together. Yeah, I remember sitting down. We're like, yeah, this shit could like change the game, like for real. So, for people that don't know, this is an underground move, and I'm about to expose it. So the Pelican spread, it's an arm spread. We didn't really figure out how to do it, but like basically you start your arm spread over here, and then you keep going, and then like you extend this arm and you let the cards roll down, so you have an entire spread of cards on your back like this, and then you're meant to like. I can't remember if you you either start flapping or you have to like you slap your arms together like this.
Spencer described it as a clap.
Yeah.
Like, and then you clap.
And then you clap and like. And then cut.
I want to see this.
We never actually, I don't think we ever actually tried. But like in theory, it makes sense. It's just like this part is kind of cool. Like I don't think I've ever seen someone go all the way down with an arm spread. Crazy.
There should be more like theoretical cardistry, like So I don't know if this is true, but like, you remember in DeVo's secret books there was like the piano routine.
Yeah, I've seen Andrew perform it. I didn't even ask him to. He was just in my basement, And then like I went to the bathroom and he came back and he was like set up. He's like, watch this. And he starts doing the piano routine.
But yeah, like in the book, DeVo says that it's brought grown men to tears.
It's like his fingers dance across the cards. Like, I was like, okay, dude.
Yeah.
Theoretical cardistry. Yeah. I mean, the one hand Sybil rumor was pretty fun for a while. I think that was Berger.
Yeah.
Was like saying
Berger,
he had figured out one hand Sybil.
Berger had the joke about one-handed squeeze, where he would like just crush the cards. That was really funny.
Yeah, I feel like word of mouth.
Spider-Man Spring. What is Spider-Man Spring? Do you know about this?
No.
Like
Spider-Man Spring.
Spider-Man Spring by Marius Senior or something.
Mary Senior?
Marius.
Marius.
Yeah, one of the old Handlords Ullman people.
There's still some underground moves from back then that haven't actually been published, which is a damn shame. Like, Scott and Sean had a cut called Jabba the Cut.
I heard about this.
Which was like meant to rival Jackson 5 in its complexity. And there's like some elements of it that have been shown live. Like Darren did a part where it was like that kind of this part and then there and then there.
Uh-huh.
That's part of Jabba the Cut, and that came out like a while ago. But that section alone is like really, that technique is really modern. So, but never published because underground. There was also Sick and Twisted by Scott, which influenced Mockingbird and Sick and Twisted Wings of a Mockingbird.
Yeah, that's where the name comes from. It's because it was Sick and Twisted by Scott and Sean, Wings of the Butterfly by Chris Hessness, and Mockingbird by Darren. So,
yeah,
like people were just doing spinny corner moves at the time. So when I had one, I just combined all the names together.
it was beautiful. Yeah, that's a classic video when you posted that. But Sick and Twisted was never published. I've never seen it.
I don't think so either.
Which is
I've heard about it.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know. and I still think about these things sometimes. Like this, like
Just lie awake at night.
yeah, it's just like unresolved trauma in a way in my head. I was like, how did I never see these cuts? So, I wonder if there's anything else. Yeah, Jonas released all of his stuff, which was awesome when he started doing that.
Jonas has a few more things that haven't been released, but he sent it to me, so I've got to. Get
Oh,
that
I think
out to
you
the
shared.
public.
I think you shared that with me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, there's some crazy stuff in there, but like he had his Chassis Lane.
Oh, Chasey Lane, yeah.
Chasey Lane.
Yeah, named after a porn star.
One of the goats, and yeah, that was kind of like his equivalent of like Jackson 5 as well. It was kind of like these like mega cuts that people were coming up with back then that had multi phases that were actually just different moves kind of slammed together into one sequence. Mm-hmm. That was a fun era.
Yeah. Like, have you heard about Chase's XP equals XB formula?
No.
It's the idea that like X packets equals X beats. So that the number of packets in the cut should equal the number of like beats that are in the routine.
Yeah. Yeah. That's been that's like been a pretty accepted school of thought, I think, in the two-hand packet scene for a long time now. It's kind of crazy how that spread, actually. I don't know if I fully agree with it. I don't think it's that linear.
No, I mean there's exceptions always, but like there's a good rule of thumb, I'd say.
And I mean, Chase has the resume or he has the papers to prove it. He has the data. His moves.
We should hack Heritage and see if it holds up.
Count.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, that's 5.5 beats. Chase is a liar.
So you have a video called "And One Lumberjack."
Yeah, as I said, crazy. I named my videos the So basically, I was watching street basketball
Hmm.
compilations back then.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Hot Sauce who would just like go crazy on the court, and the sponsoring league or was called like And One. It's like a clothing brand or something. And then I was wearing a plaid shirt in the video, so I called it And One Lumberjack.
Um, are those corner clip wins in the video?
Yeah, because I was quite broke, as in I was just like cheap, I guess. So yeah, I
Mm.
found a batch of wins at my local dollar store,
Oh,
and they were corner clipped, so I bought them. I couldn't afford to order cards from the US because the shipping was so expensive to
right,
Canada.
right.
So yeah, those are corner clip wins.
But it's impressive because it's harder to do stuff with those cards.
Totally, totally. Back then, it was the access to like blue seal cards back then too was. I just think about it, just like how if I had a time machine, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't invest in Bitcoin. I'd go buy 5,000 decks of blue seal mirrorback Aladdins for
Yes.
like $1 a piece. Yeah, yeah. So those are corner clipped wins. Yeah, I used to just rely on Costco bicycle cards back then. So every Christmas, my uncle, who was very supportive of my card shuffling, would buy me like 2 bricks or like 3 bricks of bicycle cards from Costco, and that would last me.
Yeah, I was lucky that in Singapore we had cheap Aladdins because that was the most commonly available deck at the time. So you could
Yeah,
just go to a store and get them for like $3 Singapore, which is comes out to around two in the States.
yeah. You were the Aladdin OG supporters. You put
Yeah,
Aladdins on the map.
I did. It's humble brag, but I did it.
You really did. And then there's yeah the ones that never really blew up were there was the what was like the Scandinavian deck
Anglos.
Anglos.
Yeah, because they had like kind of rounded corners.
Oh, did they? But they were still
Yeah.
yeah. So Anglos had a moment, but they never blew up.
No.
And then studs were like actually kind of like an underdog back then. But now,
Yeah, studs. You had like the soft blue studs. Those were really
yeah.
cool.
But it was just
Um,
different times because even like the most standard bicycle deck was like a really well printed blue seal deck.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
any USBCC deck back then was because they were at like the height of their manufacturing quality back then before they
Yeah.
moved. So
I
it was a good
had.
time.
It was a good time. We didn't know what we had. I
Yeah.
had bridge-sized plastic cards to start. So even like a basic bicycle deck back then was an upgrade. Although the first bicycle deck I ever got was a pirated one, so I didn't really have the best experience. I was like, "Is that it?" Like,
What do you mean
here's
pirated? Like a
it was.
counterfeit?
Yeah, it was a counterfeit bicycle deck.
Yeah, card. It was also. It's just also interesting to think about like the pre-custom deck, custom brand era where I don't know, cards like just didn't. There was a level of aesthetic choice that went into the cards you'd use in a video. Like
Hmm.
if it was like a well practiced solo video, you'd try to use like circle backs or something because bicycles were a little too run of the mill back then. But for the most part, it was just like you kind of use whatever you want. It was there was no like consumer market like there is now anymore.
No,
So simpler times for
I
sure.
I'd say that it was around time of Black Tiger, right? That things really started to. Were you around then when
Oh
Black
yeah,
Tiger first? Okay.
oh yeah, Black Tiger and Black Tiger, and there was also the Dan and Dave like Civil War deck or like whatever the fuck. Like it's
Civil
like
War?
cards like survive through time. So it was
Oh, the
just
vintage 1800s.
the 1800s, which was just like the concept was like these decks look it's like the poopiest deck you ever seen.
Yes, they look baked.
Yeah, they look baked and like there's like blood on them from and like he has like a bullet hole from like the trenches, and they're like $25. Yeah, Trashman. I remember Trashman posted a classic video. He's like, "How to make your own bicycle 1800s," and he's like, "Step 1, get a deck of bicycles." And he's like, "Step 2, go dig a hole in your backyard." Step 3, like bury them for like 4 weeks, and then like he took them out. He's like, "Yeah, there we go." And I was like, "He's not wrong."
Yeah. People were funny back then. Do you remember Chase had that video where it was a Jarek 120, and he put like peanut butter on all the cards?
Oh my god!
No,
I don't think I've seen
that. Packet cohesion.
What? Oh, Alan Hagen used to put his Jerry's in the freezer.
Right.
Because apparently that made him feel better. He put his $300 deck of Jerry's in the freezer.
In a Ziploc bag or just naked?
I think he just raw dogged it. Because there's a video that he has a solo video on Technique. I don't know if it's still out there, but yeah, like his video starts with him like opening his freezer and like pulling out the cherries. I'm like, bro.
Wow. Chill and no chill at the same time.
Chill. Yeah, there was like definitely card wives' tales, or like
yeah, I heard that
card hacks.
I heard that the freezer thing with a Ziploc bag was meant to like remove the clickness of the cards. If you got a click deck, that was supposed to be a fix. I saw it from Chase, but what other card wife tales were there?
There was. Oh yeah, how to apply fanning powder.
Yeah, how to apply fanning powder.
The Jerry method.
Oh, with the bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. No one does that anymore.
Yeah, you get like an industrial size like Uber Eats bag.
Yeah.
And you like dump a bunch of powder in there, and then you throw your cards in there, and you
spring
just
the
like
cards.
Yeah, you spring the cards in there, and you just like wave the bag around. Which probably works great, but like, again,
yeah,
I'm trying. Yeah,
I think that the current modern iteration's a bit more efficient.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Do the sides, farrow it a bunch of times. I still do the smack though. The smack I got from Jerry, but I still do it.
What's the smack?
So after they're powdered, there's still going to be residue powder in between the cards. So Jerry says to like just spank your deck, and it'll like dust out.
I have a bit of a controversial like opinion of decks of cards. Like, I think people need to treat them worse.
Okay, go on.
So I get that they're expensive and everything, and like people want to, keep their lifespan as long as possible. But I like keeping track of like if you drop a card or something, and like, I don't know, like you count your cards at the end of every usage and all this, and like washing your hands all the time. Washing your hands is important, but some people are like a little too militant about it. Even tuck cases, like this is how I am. I've always loved just like taking a deck of cards and putting it directly into my pocket without the tuck case. And there's just something like, I don't know, it's like rugged in a way. There's something nice about like you just pull out like 36 cards from your pocket and you're like, I'm good to go. So
I remember visiting Chase's place in New Smyrna, like around the time before Playground 2, and he just had like hanging like nets of cards that he would just fish his hand inside of and dig
exactly.
up.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm thinking I like the rubber band aesthetic when people just like put a rubber band around their deck and like put that in a pocket.
Oh, so good. So
the best.
What you're saying is reminding me of this Garfield image that my girlfriend showed me, where it's like these like an old Garfield and a new Garfield, and a person's like, to be loved is to be changed.
Yeah. Destroy your poop them up.
Poop 'em up.
Poop them up.
Yeah, I don't remember who said this, but they said that your cards don't get bad. You can just do different things with them over time.
Totally, totally. Although there's some people who have mastered the art of like pooping, pooping cards. Like Aviv's cards are just like masterful level of pooping.
I remember when Dimitri brought his poop deck to the con in Brooklyn. It
Oh
was
God,
inside of
this
like
is
a,
disgusting.
yeah, it was in its own little binder.
It was like literally twice as thick. You know how much like human particles have to be like infused into the cardstock for it to be that thick? Crazy.
It's in the Cardistry Necronomicon or something.
Yeah, straight up.
The Necronomic card.
That's how Dimitri actually got so good so fast, is he infused his soul into the poop deck.
Yeah, open up the Cardistry Book of the Dead. So I don't have many more notes left, but this one says, back then Magic was more incorporated into cardistry. We have like Ace Productions, color changes, and the like. You still do some of that with your Instagram stories, where you'll like do a move and bust out an Ace Production.
Yeah, yeah. I've always, I mean, I like most people, I started with card magic. And I've always just had a love for like technical sleights. So one of the first DVDs that I had, so I had the system, I had Team Beginners, but then I also had Ray Cosby's
Oh, Impossible Card Magic,
Possible Card Magic.
Raise Rise.
So I had Ray's Rise. Great beginners trifecta right there. So I can learn the Charlier cut from Extreme Beginners, and then I can go straight to Jackson 5 and Ray's Rise. I've always just had this love for like really technical, mechanical card sleights. It's just so refreshing on the fingers when you do cardistry all day to have things that just like use minimal finger movement that like kind of lets the deck do the work and stuff like that. So I love where it's at right now in the community, like what Noel's doing and
Oh, for
and
sure, with the Ace and like the other
with
stuff that
Ace and
the sleight of hand videos that he puts out with Sam Pratt and Jack Patton.
yeah, legends, absolute legends. Like the quality of the Ace productions built into like cardistry movements now is incredible. Like some of them are absolutely stunning. And then yeah, Jack is like my favorite card handler period right now. So yeah, I hope there is just kind of more of like a melding of hardcore like sleight of hand, move monkey stuff and cardistry because I think they really do intertwine like very well, like aesthetically. So, and I think for growth wise for cardistry as well, it does add this layer of like visual wowness for the lay people that I think
Yeah.
cardistry kind of misses now. Cardistry meta is too advanced and it's just too intricate, I think, for most beginner/lay people to actually comprehend what's happening. So,
Yeah, I've seen evidence of that in that there was a feature of Test Room on an Australian news show a while
awesome.
ago, and it plays the video, and then Darren and Huron and me are doing some moves. But it's when I pop out the Ace production with Forgasm that the host is like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, yeah. It's like from a growth perspective, I guess, to like appeal to a wider audience, it works. So yeah, I'm all for it. I've actually probably been practicing sleight of hand more than cardistry these days. Um,
Didn't you have like a really good handling of Uzumaki?
oh yeah, I don't know if I could do it on camera. Yeah, a little like the
Yeah,
like a 3-6 keeps going all the way around. This is a really
yeah.
poopy bicycle deck, but yeah. So like always integrating into a flourish. I've been doing that in my flourishes since almost like day one. Like I've always had color changes.
Yeah, I remember
Kind of
that like little
hidden.
pop color change from CCC.
Yeah, that was one. Like I think I had a snap change in a move or something. So I've always loved incorporating that kind of like flair, I guess. Yeah, so it's cool to see where it's at. There are quite a few like cardists, card mechanics doing really cool things. There's like Cards Ethan, I believe his
Oh
name
yeah,
is.
Cards Ethan. Yep, fantastic.
Um, yeah, then Sprat, Jack, Noel, and even just some of the magicians these days, like
There's that guy Cards Luden. He's like the same guy as Coins Luden, I believe, on Instagram. The Japanese magician Fuki.
yes. Oh, isn't that like a collective?
Maybe it's a collective, but
Yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff.
hmm
And then there's guys like Andrew Frost,
yes, slightly
um,
obsessed.
slightly obsessed. That's a little too heady for me, I think. Like a little too theoretical and performance based.
hmm
But his handling is incredible. Then like Alex
Yeah.
Hansford,
Oh, Alex
um,
Hansford, like he doesn't do a lot of flourishes, but the ones he does are like impeccable.
beautiful stuff. And then the goat Tony Chang, like
Oh, Tony.
so the way he handles and approaches kind of like just like move monkey sleights and stuff. Like I love that. It's like I love because it's the polar opposite of cardistry. It's like so much happening. Like his color change, there's like your hands are like,
Yeah.
but from the top perspective, you're just doing like this or something.
Yeah.
So it's just like it just works like the different synapses in my brain. So
Yeah, it's interesting because like there was like a big divorce for a period of time where like cardistry had to really establish its own, aside from magic, to be considered its own independent art form. Because a lot of people saw it as like an inferior subset of magic back in the day.
well, maybe this will be one of the closing moments because this is
Yeah.
a funny one. But do you remember Death Before Me? I believe it was called.
Yeah, DeVo's video
DeVo's video. So,
that he
for
screened at
context,
the was it Art of Magic
Art
International,
of
something like
yeah, it was like a
AOM, the AOM
magic
convention.
convention.
Yeah.
So back in the Handlords technique days, there was like quite a stigma against cardistry, XCM, card flourishing in general by the broader magic scene. I'm not saying all magicians thought this way, but it was like a pretty popular opinion to denounce cardistry as like clowning, like card juggling. Think like Jay Sankey level stuff, but like across the spectrum of magicians. It was mostly card mechanics who like themselves suck. And I think it was like a level of jealousy. Anyways, it was like a popular opinion if you're a magician to poop all over card shuffling. DeVo, the legend, was like militant for the card shufflers, the XCMers. And the legend, he had a presentation at this card convention, and he filmed this video called "Death Before Me." And okay, so the video starts. I'm gonna paint a picture. Video opens. It's a snowy landscape. All you can hear is like this deep panting. Someone's like frantically running through the snow. Sounds like they're running for their life. So like this is running, and then it cuts to this like shadowy figure like running after them in silence. Cuts back to the person running. They're like, "Oh my god, like they're almost going to catch me." Cut back to the shadowy figure. Cut back. The shadowy figure's caught up with this guy. The shadowy figure stabs the guy to death in cold blood. Murders him in the snow. Blood everywhere across the snow. The shadowy figure reaches down, reaches into the pocket of this corpse, pulls out a bunch of sponge balls, throws them away, and then reaches in and steals this corpse's cards and starts doing cardistry or XCM. So the whole concept of that was that DeVo literally hunted down a magician in the snow, murdered him with his knife, and then took his cards and started doing XCM on top of his corpse. And they showed this at like a magic convention. And then also DeVo had like a painting commissioned. It was meant to show the war, like the power struggle of XCM versus like cut kitties / magicians.
Cut kitties. I haven't heard that word in a long time.
Yeah, DeVo used to call us cut kitties, but yeah,
It's on
just
Urban Dictionary.
Yes. Yeah, that cut deep back in the day. But yeah, there's this picture of him. It's like this Renaissance style painting of this huge battlefield, and it's just DeVo and his like factions like just murdering and like disemboweling like magicians and cardists, and DeVo standing on a pile of like corpses in this painting, just like it's just like so over the top. Props to him for like leaning into that bit so hard.
Wasn't it
It's
called
like
MMD? Magicians Must Die?
something, yeah, something crazy like that. Honestly, like true performance art from this man. Like
Committed
this
to the
whole
bit.
bit, yeah, it's like some Marina Abramovich level performance art. When you think about it, it's like super, super impressive.
Yeah.
That time was crazy. When I tell lay people these stories, they're like, "What the fuck was your childhood, man?"
Oh, well, I think that's a great place to
Anyways, on that note,
leave
yeah.
off. I hope you guys enjoyed this initial foray into cardistry lore with my wonderful guest, Brendan Connor.
Thank you so much for having me.
Conner.
ER. Yeah, this was great. I love talking cardistry lore. I can go on about it forever. It's just so ridiculous. Like what we considered just like a normal day on the internet back in the day. When you put it into words, it's just like, oh no, that was weird. So,
Yeah, like it was weird for sure, but it's kind of cool, I'd say. Like I know it didn't seem like it
yeah,
at the time.
it was very cool. I think it's like unbelievably cool, and like I am so happy I had those times and those memories and stuff. And
Yeah,
it's rare to be.
I'm glad you
Sorry,
came
go.
back.
Me too, man. It's very rare to be able to like be part of a community and maintain friendships like this internationally for this long. So I think that's a huge testament to just how strong of a community cardistry really is.
Yeah, for sure. There's your camera.
That's good. All right, later, everyone.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording now and.